Hello guys, and welcome to Dungeons 2 for the PlayStation 4. I'm just putting together a guide to explain how to set your traps at main entrances. And this has been extensively tested, and this is the best I can come up with for the smallest space used and its functionality and its effectiveness. To start with, I've got a rolling trap at the beginning that knocks that first wave, so they all bunch together. So by the time they hit this square here, they get hit by both sides of rolling stone, which does immense damage. And if they get past that point, they get hit with the left and right rolling stones. And if they get any further than that, you've got the explosive chest lures set left and right, and then one in the centre. Those lures help keep the enemy left and right so that the stones here can hit them properly. And as you can see, I've got a guard post that's only 3 squares, so you can't put the horn on it. I've done that on purpose. The range of this particular Nagger archer, I think he might be fully upgraded or fairly on the way to fully upgraded, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares in. It will shoot anything on that 5th set of squares if he's to the front of his guard post. That's why I've reduced it to only 3 squares. It keeps him in the range. Plus, if you've got the horn on here, like you added another couple of squares on the back of your guard post, as soon as the enemy hit that guard post area, or you slap that horn by mistake, it draws in all of your troops from the top number over to this side, even the guards on the other guard posts, which is quite annoying. So I've left that off on purpose because I don't want my other areas undefended. What can I say? Right, the range of the rolling stones is 6 squares. So if I was to put one there, I'd count the square it's on. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will activate on the 6th square, but it will roll beyond if it's a corridor, if you know what I mean. And other things of note, I've stuck a thrasher in the middle. They require a 9 square radius around them of clear space, so that's why I've ended up with spike pits below them. The spike pits will damage and slow them down, but they won't slow them down as much as tar pits will. Early game accessed traps. But depending on what level you're at and what you can afford to buy and what you can actually build, this is a general layout that works very well for the entryways. The treasure chests, I've set them back from the entrance because once they explode, they need to be replaced. They also act as lures for the enemies. They lure them in somehow. They like to travel towards them.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Let's have a look over here. They've already been knocked back by the first stone by the looks of it. So they all sort of bunch together and all get whammied all at once by the 2 stones to the left and right, and that's finished them off near enough. And so he's moved. My creatures can get knocked over by the stones, but they do not get injured. All it does is disrupt their abilities to shoot, which is good. And the same with the treasure chests. When they explode, you don't get friendly damage, and it don't knock you over or nothing. It just, the only thing that affects them is the rolling stone. So I've set them forward of the guard position just to stop him from being affected. Yeah, the treasure chests aren't as expensive as the rolling stones. That one costs 6. This costs 2, I think it is. And they also get repaired quicker, but they are a one-shot deal. Plus, I did experiment with them rolling stones in this position, these 2 positions, but it just seemed like overkill, and you lose your lures for the 2 rolling stones there. Plus, the setup here, you could do it from day 1, and as and when your tech becomes unlocked, you won't have to mess about with your entryways as much if you sort of generally follow this setup. What I do to start with from the beginning of the game, it'd be 3 by 5 square cutout, and then you put in tar pits. It would be early level tar pits in them slots, and the lower level thresher will go in there, or thresher, and then you'd have your exploding chest there, or you'd have one there and there instead. And always make sure there's a gap of 1 between these, because the one next to it, or one diagonally next to it, if you place them that way, once it's exploded, it will set off a chain reaction to the next one, so you'll lose both of them at the same time. And you set the doorways. I always like to set the doorways at least 1 square back from the guard, because he will constantly keep the door opening and closing, flapping when he's walking past it, which is pretty annoying. And I've set it back 2 squares for this particular demo because I had a 4 square guard post set up. I think it was take that square out and then put 4 squares of guard post there, and then you can put the horn there. But I took it out because of the problems it caused me with luring all of my working allies to that particular entrance. Plus, it allows your Nagger archer to walk back away out of range from the front entrance, which is not helpful. I did also experiment with having the exploding chests on that position, there, and then having rolling barrels there, rolling rocks there and there. But
enemies have entered
more
the
often than
dungeon.
not, they would set off the chests, and they'd have to be replaced a lot. I mean, it's only your little minions that run in and do it, but does it really matter? I don't know. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it. I am wondering though that once the explosive rocks become available as an upgrade, whether if you did put one there and there and when they hit here, would it explode the barrel, the chest? Which is another reason I've sort of shied away from it. And because you want low level tech stuff from the offset, that's just what's going to be available to you. So you use what you lay, and then you don't have to mess about with your entryways as often as you would need to. The only downside to this setup is if you wanted to use it as a training point for troops, you can only stick one on 3 slots, on 3 guard post squares, so you can only train one at a time. But it does mean
payday.
When you do actually go out into the world, you take out your troops, you can leave these 3 guardians behind. Just don't select them. There's the other one. He's gone somewhere. He's run off. But if you click on it, yeah, he's still guard room. He's still set for guarding it when he's come back from whatever he's doing. Also in the guide it shows a troll Tesla coil trap. I don't know what size it is, but I imagine I could replace the thrasher with the Tesla coil and it'd fit in there. But until I get to that point, I never know. Something to note, yeah, the rolling rocks will pass through treasure chests without harming them, so that's just something to think about. And I don't know if I mentioned the rolling rocks range is 6 squares, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, right, yeah. So if it was in that back wall, it would activate if someone stood on this square. So it's six squares for activation, but it will roll, just carry on rolling down straight corridors beyond 6 squares. Also, the rocks will not pass through the horn, and they will not pass through the thresher. They explode on the thresher. I did experiment with having them set at the back end of the room for their range, rolling forwards, but more often than not it just knocks him on his arse. That's as far as I get. Thanks for watching, goodbye.